sports, the bond between a father and a son tightened, and I had not seen that in any other sport.
I've been involved in racing all my life, so it is very family oriented. Yeah, Moss Sports really come a long ways on helping. Somebody needs something, we give them a part or whatever. You know, we'll help everybody out. There's no superstars here. We're here to have fun.
My dad took me out to Family Kart Ways and with the rental karts out there. Fell in love with them, and he finally bought me a kart. That's my little boy. He likes playing with steering wheels and tools, and we got him on the simulator playing around a bit too. And he does about a lap on iRacing and then crashes into the wall and cries when the spotter tells him his motor blew up. From talking to my old man when he's out watching me race, he's telling me how scared he is watching me go around. I'm sure it's going to be the exact same thing with him, even though I know what it's like. I'm still going to be scared seeing him in the back and not be able to control his kart, right?
When I was a kid, I watched Formula 1 on television and stuff, and I thought it was really cool. So then my dad, he took me to the Molson Indy in Toronto, and I started asking the drivers, like, how do I do this? I want to be a race car driver. And then they're like, oh, you have to start by karting. So my dad took me out to a kart track, and I loved it. So I've been doing it ever since.
It's what you like doing, so you let them do it, and you got to let them have fun. That's part of it.
We switched from Hamilton Club and we came to Mosport because we think this is one of the best tracks in, if not in Ontario for sure, but in Canada.
There's a lot going on all at once, but it definitely gets your heart rate up. Really close to the ground in a small, light kart, so the speed factor, and then the competitive nature. You're with a lot of people. Like if you get 10 or 12 guys out and you're racing, there's a lot of action. A lot of things can happen.
You feel that you're going fast, and it's like so cool. Like it's something totally different than anything else.
You can see in your peripherals that someone's taking you, or you know that you have the speed to pass someone, and it's when you're getting past, it's not the greatest feeling, but when you're passing someone, it's so exhilarating. It's the best feeling.
There's not too many things that you can do in life that gives you the rush of running around with 12 of these things in a pack. Like our class there, Honda Masters, are running so tight, our times are within a tenth of each other. The competition is so great, like it's hard to describe.
It seems like you're going a lot slower when you're out there. When you're actually racing, you kind of get the adrenaline going, and it's not as bad, but it gets pretty intense sometimes when you're wheel to wheel with everyone. I don't know, I like how it's all individual, like it's all, if you do good, it's all on you. If not, it's kind of your own battle. The starts are probably one of my favorite parts.
At that moment, right at the beginning, you're very nervous. Like I'm honestly, before every race, I'm pretty well shaking. Once I get out on the track and once I get going on the first few warm-up laps, you're just kind of in the zone, you're just kind of cruising along. And once that green flag goes, you're not focused on anything but driving. You're focused on the next corner. You're not focused on who's in front of you, who's behind you. You're focusing on nailing that corner, so then on the straightaway you can catch that person and you can pass them.
Driving, it's usually your fault. It can also be your fault when you're the mechanic and the driver's not happy, right? So as a mechanic, sometimes it's very hectic getting ready and making changes on the kart after each session to try and find out problems and try to make the kart go faster.
Well, as a father and the mechanic, if he goes out there and you make the wrong choices or the wrong gears or the wrong tire pressures, it almost feels like it's your fault, not the driver's fault, that the equipment, whether it doesn't work right or fails on the course.
coming down hard. We're gonna have to red flag the race.
Red flag the race, we're gonna call a wet race.
When a race director calls for a wet race, we are going to allow 15 minutes for drivers to change the setup of their chassis. They'll go back into their pits and they'll put a set of rain tires on. They're going to raise the chassis from the ground. They're going to do a couple other various things in order to set up for the rain. Drivers chose to go out with slicks on in the anticipation that if they stayed clean and didn't lose control of their kart, once the kart started coming to the track would start drying, and once track starts drying, your rain tire starts to wear away very quickly and a slick tire starts to come in. What you also saw was the loss of a wheel on the racetrack, and that is because you're given 15 minutes, and in a lot of cases in the pits it's quite a panic to get set up for the rain. I think the reason that we have been successful at this facility is because we approach it a little bit different than a lot of the other tracks. To us, it's very family oriented. This is a club level where we're looking for families to interact within each other, where you've got the father who's the greasy mechanic, the go-to guy, the driver, the young son or the daughter who seems to be the star.
I want to be a Formula 1 driver for Ferrari.
To race the 24 hours of Le Mans, that's my dream.
Obviously, any go-karter's dream is to make it to Formula 1.
To be honest, some days I wonder why I do this. When you're sitting there in the garage at 11 o'clock at night thrashing on an engine and nothing seems to be working right, or you come out here and have a bad day, I guess you do it just for that $5 plastic trophy, man. Really. Like nothing, there's nothing better than getting that little plastic trophy at the end of the day, even though it just sits on your shelf, collects dust, but if you come home with one of those, it makes it worth it. Like one good run, it's like hitting one good golf shot. You might suck the rest of your round, but that one good golf shot keeps you coming back. And it's kind of the same thing with this. So